Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Yeah, it's time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. That's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Ooh-wee. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist, a.k.a. Inner Peace Practitioner. That's right, Inner Peace Practitioner. I do both. Rebecca L. Norrington, welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I'm getting so many new listeners from all over the globe. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for listening. Woo, let's go. Wow, what a week. Let me just start off by sharing with the people that may be listening to the show for the first time who the hell I am and what is Reality Spirituality. What is this show about? Well, Reality Spirituality, I've been hosting this podcast probably, oh my goodness, it's been over 10 years now. That's right, over 10 years. And Reality Spirituality, all the concept of the show is how to experience more happiness. That's it. It's very simple. How to experience more happiness on the journey, on this journey we call life. And when I say how to experience, happiness is a practice skill, like any other skill on this planet. From gardening to chef to painting to musician to songwriter to author, it's like any other skill. And the good news is when you know what to practice and you know what to eliminate, guess what? You will be happier. And when, you know, I'm starting off, geez, I just feel shot out of a cannon. Let me just stay on point, especially for my new listeners, because I can just take a curveball and go down another road. Let me try to stay on track. When I talk about experiencing more happiness, I ask people all the time, how many of you would like to be happier? Everybody raises their hand. Everybody seems to raise their hand. In fact, look around. Who doesn't want to feel happier? But the problem is the programming. We have all been programmed for unhappiness. That's right. All of us have been programmed for unhappiness. So on this show, Reality Spirituality, I share with you the program that keeps us unhappy. There is, let me just give you a really quick example. When I say happiness is a practice skill, it's like any other skill. So the more you commit to the practice, and it is a daily practice, the better the results. So when I say what subtracts from happiness, the programming is, and this is part of today's topic, is comparing yourself to someone else. Now, I don't know about you, but when I used to compare myself with Oprah, I'm not joking, comparing myself to Oprah or anybody else that's out there that I think that, yes, I can do that. I got answers. I have answers. The problem is when you compare yourself to someone else, you're never, it's apples and oranges. I know I'm getting into the topic pretty quickly, but it's apples and oranges. And I heard something today, well, not today, but this week, and it was, let me give him credit because I didn't come up with it. I mean, I've been talking about not comparing yourself to others for a long time, but this is a great explanation, and it also makes it even clearer why not to. And his name is Jordan Peterson. And he's a psychologist, maybe a psychiatrist, and he speaks. He's a speaker. I really like listening to him. Now, the other thing that his take on comparing is, when you compare yourself to someone else, you first of all, you don't know everything about them. Number two, you're so different. And number three, the better comparison is comparing yourself to who you used to be. Compare yourself to yourself. Compare your old self with, when I say old self, who you used to be in your teens, who used to be in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s. Who you used to be, and see, that is a better comparison. I just love that example, and he's absolutely right. So when I compare myself to me, when I look and see who I used to be and what I used to think and how I used to behave, wow, I'm pretty impressed. Tell anybody, please don't tell anybody. I used to be a bitch on wheels. My way or the highway, judgmental, opinionated. I was always right. Oh, my goodness. And I knew what was wrong with you. I knew exactly what was wrong with you, and I knew what you needed to do to get better, to feel better, to do better. That's not me anymore. Unless somebody asks me a question, well, that's not always true if I'm inspired, but usually in my personal life, I'm a big listener. And that comparing yourself to yourself, what that does is not only does that help with the practice of being self-aware, but it helps when you can celebrate your growth, celebrate who you used to be. Come on, you know who you used to be and how you used to feel and what you used to focus on. And I'm telling you, that person who I used to be, you couldn't pay me to go back to being that person. I'm talking about millions of dollars, 500 million. Oh, scratch 500. $1 billion. Rebecca, I'm going to write a check for you. Scratch the check. Deposit $1 billion of cash in your Swiss bank account that I'm going to have to open up quickly. $1 billion for you to go back and be that person that you used to be. $1 billion, no. I would turn it, I'm not even thinking about it. 500 million, 100 million, 10,000, it doesn't know. I am not going back because I know what that person felt like. And when I mean felt like is felt meaning the energy, the vibration. I know what I used to feel like. And I'm not saying, I say listen a lot, don't I? And I'm not saying that there is a lot of growth left to happen. But I'm not giving up my growth for any amount of money. I'm not giving up my consciousness. I'm not giving up what I've learned and how I've evolved. I'm talking about personal growth for any amount of money at all, ever. And I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize how grounded I am with being, how solid I am with this growth, and I'm only speaking of myself, this growth that I've attained, personal growth, spiritual growth, it has been invaluable in my life. It is the reason why the times that, and life challenges me just like life challenges you. Life is not easy. It is a ride on a roller coaster, up, down, up, down, up, down. Sometimes the downs are, sometimes down, sometimes up. And that's one of the reasons why when I share, in fact, You know what? Let me do this because I wrote a quote this week, and I have to say that I really like this quote. Hold on, my dear audience. Hold on, my dear audience. Oh, where is it? Why didn't I have it ready? Beep, 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 beep. Okay. Okay, here we go. When you're feeling angry, hurt, sad, dissatisfied, worried, fearful, and just generally negative, guess what gift we all have access to when we're emotionally challenged, when we're down on the bottom, when we're not feeling good about life, about ourselves, about everything. We all have that, including myself. Guess what we all have? We have the next moment. The next moment. So the practice is rejoice quickly and recover quickly. This life is about moments, present moments, and living in the present moment. When I say global happiness specialist or inner peace practitioner, it's the same. For me, it's the same thing. It's how to navigate, how to walk, how to run, how to stroll through this life feeling at ease and peaceful. I don't care if you have 100 deadlines. I don't care if there are, I'm just speaking for myself, fires around the corner. I mean, real fires, forest fires. I'm in an area where we are experiencing a lot of fires. It doesn't matter what happens because you are grounded. Your foundation is peace. Your vibration is peace. So there's nothing that is going to move you off of that vibration. Nothing externally. And when you aren't feeling, and see, the thing about this foundational feeling of peace, that when I talk about this foundational vibration, when I talk, and let me just, the numbers here, I have a few people in the chat, in the queue. The calling number is area code 646-564-9619, and just press 1 if you'd like to comment or you have a question. Again, 646-564-9619. Back to the foundation, and when you are rooted in peace, there is nothing out there that is going to move you off that foundation. Absolutely not. Happiness is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. And it is about taking action, and it is about practicing. There is something new that's a practice every single day. You're never going to get bored. The one thing that I'm doing lately, I'm on my second week. Is it 2 weeks? Maybe 2.5 weeks. I lose track of time. And this new regimen of learning something for an hour a day. If you listen to my show, I'm trying to bring lazy back. Justin Timberlake is bringing sexy back. No, I'm bringing lazy back. And the thing, because lazy gets a bad rap. And let me just stop because I'm tongue in cheek now. But what I'm saying is the labels, the judgment that I put on myself, or the criticisms I have for myself. I can do that all day. I mean, this morning I'm listening to my ego, and the ego has one piece of bad news after another, or gets me wrapped up in some kind of story about something else or someone else. It's very easy. The ego is it's very easy to slip into that state of what the ego wants to talk about or feel about. And you know what I found? I don't know about your ego, but my ego never has any good news, ever. There's always a problem. There's always a challenge. There's always some kind of story. There's always something to look at and be dissatisfied with. And so the practice becomes, when I say happiness is a practice skill, the practice becomes knowing the truth behind the voices. In other words, there's two entities. I've talked about this before. There's the ego, and then there's the universal voice. And there's a big difference in both of those messages. And the message from the ego is there's always something wrong. There's always something that needs to be, that brings about that vibration of dissatisfaction. There's always something, there's more. I need more. I need more to do. I need things more to happen. The vibration, and one of the things when I share is, if you're dissatisfied in this moment, if you're in that vibration this moment, and you're not able to get into the present moment with awe and with gratitude and thank you for this. Thank you for this moment. It's a practice. And the practice requires you doing something. You actually taking some kind of action. The action, and when there is no action taken, listen, I'm not here to say take action every day, but when there is no action taken, know that nothing different is going to happen. The practice is looking in the mirror for the solutions and the answers. That's not an easy practice. Trust me. I've been doing it for years now. It's not easy to take the responsibility and take the blame for my behavior or what I choose to say and what I choose to do. One of the things about this, let me just share this. You know, I said I'm listening to different speakers now, usually an hour a day, or reading something different, or reading a passage from a book, at least an hour a day now, just so I can expand, just so I can do something that, in other words, learning more. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but even learning more. One of the things that was said by this Jordan Peterson was really interesting. He says, don't seek happiness. Don't look for happiness. He said a better search would be searching for meaning. Meaning. Listen, I get it. I really get it. And one of the reasons why when I say happy, and I sometimes get a little pushback from that word happy. And I want to be very, very clear, especially for my new listeners, to know that when I say happy, it's the same as this internal peace. It's the same vibration. I'm not talking about, I win the lottery, now I'm happy, or I have this connection and now I'm happy, or I finished my book. By the way, the book is going to get finished within the next couple of months. My second book, Program for Unhappiness, is going to be finished and is going to be published within 2 months. How you like that? Maybe even less. I'm on it now. I'm on it after all these years. And that's the other thing. Let me just share. You know, if something is not happening, if it's not happening with ease, well, at least this is my philosophy. This is my perspective. If it's not happening with ease, then maybe it's not time. Maybe it's not time to happen. If it's not flowing, if it's not flowing for you, I don't know. That works for me. It's very. You can feel the difference. You can feel the difference when the push, the hard. And I get the hard work. I get all of that. But there is a difference between pushing, working against hitting a wall, as opposed to just things flowing. And I am really into the flow. And I can be into the flow for 12 hours, for 14 hours, and get something done, but there's an ease about it. That's the way I like to work, with the ease, and in the ease, and if there's a vibration, there's an easy vibration. I got a little bit off the track. Let me get back to comparing. No, let me get back to what he said, that happiness is not important. Well, if you ever watch it, listen, the guy's brilliant, very smart. He's a professor. I think he's a psychiatrist, psychologist. He speaks all over the world. I really like listening to him, learning things from him. But he says, forget about happiness. Now, looking at him and watching him and vibing with him and getting into his energy, I don't remember him smiling too much. But listen, one of the things is we are all as different as our fingerprints. We are as different as our fingerprints. So if happiness isn't important to him, hey, who the hell am I to say that that's wrong? But I'll tell you this. There's been so much evidence from, I was looking at something the other day I wrote. It was an MTV Awards. I think it was in the mid 2013, 14, around there, 15. And Beyonce was asked, what is your greatest accomplishment, or what do you want? What do you want? What do you really want in life? And this woman who has everything, she said she wants to be happy. I've told this story on the show also. I'm going to say it again. And regardless of what you think about the Kardashians, that's not even the issue. The point is, on the final episode, Kim Kardashian, who has everything, she's another one that has everything money can buy, admitted on air that she's not happy. It's not about what you get, accomplish, money, health, relationships, state of the world, a New York Times best-selling list. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I was seeking. There is a feeling of contentment, and when I say happy, it is the same as feeling that vibration of contentment. That vibration, that feeling of contentment, and feeling that more than not. Not just sometimes. You look at a tree and sometimes you get stuck at the tree and you start crying about the tree. No, I'm not talking about sometimes. I'm talking about having that vibration, having that feeling of contentment more often than not. Living with that vibration of contentment, being that vibration of contentment, being that vibration. That's what I'm talking. That is practiced. It doesn't just happen. Well, scratch that. It didn't just happen for me. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just knew I wanted to be happy, and I wasn't. And how did I know? How did I know I wasn't? Comparing myself to someone else? Well, it looked like, when you're looking at someone, especially maybe someone you don't know, maybe somebody in the media, the looks, the shininess of all of it. We don't know what's going on inside. We don't know the day-to-day life, but I've listened to people that have been around multimillionaires, billionaires. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was around a multimillionaire, and they say you wouldn't even believe what goes on in their daily lives. In other words, trying to get through one day. Anybody can put on a good face. Anybody can smile. Anybody can act, yay. Anybody can smile for the camera, but who are you when the lights are turned off? Who are you when you don't have your things? Who are you? That's the test. It's not the things. It's not the accomplishments. Otherwise, these people when I say these people, I mean these people that seem to have it all would be happy. You can listen to the interviews. When I talk about, last week's show we're talking about measuring personal growth, and that's one of the things. When you compare yourself to yourself, you will be able to measure your growth. You will be, especially if you're conscious and you're self-aware, you will be able to measure. And let's start giving ourselves credit for all of the work that we're all putting in to be a more expansive version of ourselves, bigger, more conscious, more awareness, more the ability to practice more perspective. One of the reasons why the anger, when I say anger, people looking at other people, now the whole thing is this I don't even want to talk about it, but the people that are vaccinated against the people that aren't vaccinated. And there's so much back and forth, and the reason why people get so stuck in that one, and I'm raising my hand too, but I know that if I'm stuck in one way and I'm looking at something and I'm not very happy with it, I'm getting bothered by it or irritated by it, I know right then that I'm only looking at it with one perspective. That's an easy one. It's easy to practice. I'm only looking at it one way. My ego will only let me look at this situation one way. And that's the clue. If you only can find one perspective, you are limiting your freedom. Limiting your freedom, limiting your views. Try it. Whatever is pushing your buttons, whatever it is, try looking at whatever is pushing your buttons in a different way with a different perspective. Now, I know that's not about comparing, but it is very helpful for me when I oh God, that irritates. Let me tell you what happened this week that bothered me or irritated me just for a second, because I don't know about you, but I don't like that vibration of being irritated or annoyed or bothered or angry. It doesn't really fit very well. It feels like it's too tight. It doesn't feel like a custom fit. It feels like there needs to be something else. And when you practice every single day and every moment, how to be at peace regardless of what's happening, guess what? The more you practice, the easier it becomes. The easier it becomes, the more it's your identity. When I talk about happiness and the value of it, not a lot of people are agreeing that it's valuable. I mean, I don't see anybody getting any awards for being happy and pleasant and peaceful and agreeable. Yeah, I don't think getting any awards for that. And in fact, let me just share this. I've been listening to a lot of speakers lately, and one of the guys which I really like, his name is Robin Sharma. I really like him. I really do. He's got a good vibration, cool, feels very humble. I really, really like him. I like his messages. He gives his messages with love. You can feel the love. He's really giving with his heart. You can feel it. And one of the things, though, he talks about is having iconic habits. And let me see, hold on a second. Habits meaning daily habits. Good daily habits lead to good weekly habits, lead to good monthly habits. And if you know me, I'm very unstructured. I'm structuring up a little bit more now. But one of the things that he likes to talk about are these people that are going to be legends, from the Picassos, the Steve Jobs, to the Warren Buffetts. He talks a lot about people that have made a lot of money and are very accomplished. But one of the things that is not mentioned is how peaceful these people are. What is where is their happiness level? And if you ask me, and nobody did, if you ask me, the peace and the happiness is number one. What kind of life is it? Scratch that, because that's a judgment. Let me scratch that. But I know who I used to be. I would not want to be who I used to be with a lot of money. It would have been horrible. I already know myself. I was a bitch without money. It would have been horrible. My humble perspective is that the peace and the internal peace and the happiness is taught comes first. And when that is set, when that is your foundation, guess what? You can conquer anything, any challenge that happens, because your foundation is set in. Let me just share with you what adds to happiness. The behaviors and the practice that add to happiness are surrendering. When I say surrendering, I mean surrendering to whatever is in your present moment. There's no struggle with the present moment. There's a surrendering to it and an acceptance of it, regardless what it is, regardless what it feels like. The other thing that you practice, the other practice is humbling, noticing the difference between the universal voice and the ego's voice. The other thing is knowing yourself. See, knowing yourself, really knowing yourself and being honest with yourself, honest about who you are, what you like, what you don't like, knowing you. That is a study that I believe is necessary for any kind of growth. Knowing and accepting self. Knowing and accepting you. Which gets back to the comparing. How do you compare stars? I mean, you say one is bigger, one is brighter, one is farther, one is closer. How do you compare trees? One is taller, one has more leaves, one is older, one is younger. Can you compare trees? I mean, yeah, okay, but they're too different. They're too different. You're not going to have the same tree ever. You're not going to grow the same tree. Or let's see, can you clone a tree? I don't know. Naturally, without man interfering. How's that? You cannot grow the same tree. The stars, let's scratch the stars. Let's just say animals. I don't care if the same breed. Every animal, every person is different. We are as different as our fingerprints. I teach that. I share that. We're so different, and the comparison is not with another person. When you compare yourself to someone else, when you compare, or why can't, I sure would like to, they look at what they're doing, no. That's never going to take you down a good road. And it's going to subtract from your happiness. And this show is about how to experience more happiness. So comparing. So back to the comparing. Only compare yourself with yourself and who you were yesterday. That's it. And then when there's a week later or a month later, then you compare yourself to who you were that yesterday. And when you start to compare yourself and you start to notice, because growth is it's very, sometimes it even feels like it's invisible, but it's very, very small. It's very subtle. It's a very subtle shift. And unless, I don't know about you, but the program is, where's the fireworks? This growth that I'm talking about, personal growth, spiritual growth, it's so sometimes it's so small. Sometimes it's not even detectable, especially if you're not paying attention, especially if you're not practicing self-awareness, especially if you're not conscious in every moment. Your progress, your growth could get unnoticed. The other behaviors that add to happiness is letting go the illusion that you have control over anything anyone else is doing or anything out there that isn't internally, that isn't you. You have control over anything out there. You don't. The other thing that's going to add your happiness is practicing trust. Practicing trust. And you know you're practicing trust when you have zero worries. When you don't worry anymore. When there's nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. That's when you know that your practice in trust is at a totally different game. All of you worriers out there, I love you, but the only reason why you worry is because you lack trust. Now, some of you will say, trust in what? Trust in what? How about this? Trust in the evidence that you already have in your life. Trust in the evidence that everything that has happened to you so far has been there to serve you, even if it didn't feel good, it didn't look good, and by this world's judgment, it wasn't good. It wasn't good that you experienced domestic violence. It wasn't good that you experienced, you throw in anything. That wasn't good. So I'm here to challenge that. I'm not saying that we sit up here and celebrate it. What I'm saying is find another perspective to find what's good. So there is evidence. There is evidence in your life, because there's evidence in my life. And if there's evidence in my life, I know there's evidence in your life to look back in whatever challenge that you were going through, whatever it was, look back and say, wow, I didn't like it when I was going through it, but I sure can recognize the benefits now. Wow, thank you for that. Because without that horrible, rotten experience, without that, I wouldn't be who I am today. All of it, all experiences matter. All of them have a purpose, regardless of whether we understand it, believe it, want to believe it or not. You are being served in every single moment. your higher self is being served. All of you is being served. Let me just share this because the time. Okay, so anybody in the queue, if you want to ask me a question, just press the number 1. I have these people in the queue. If you want to ask a question, just press the number 1 or make a comment, or not, or just keep listening. I was talking to a relative of mine this week, and I didn't know that she was like this. It was really interesting because this woman is a talker. Talk. I mean, you get on the phone, it's a whole conversation. It's all talk, and I listen. And one of the things that she told me, because she's asking me about, moving to Oregon and not knowing anybody and who do you talk to, and I said, well, you just, if you have a question, you meet a stranger, you just, hey, ask them a question. I could be friendly. I meet people all the time on the street. I don't have a problem speaking to strangers. And she told me this. She says, no, I would not ever speak to a stranger. She says, if I went to a party and I didn't know anybody there, I would sit in the chair and not speak. And I'm only bringing that up because she's almost 60. And apparently that's okay. Apparently that's okay, meaning she doesn't mind living like that. Now, there's another woman that I met this week, and she was terrified and shy and didn't want to, she just came out and said that's one of her biggest fears is talking to a stranger. And what she did was for a year, she said that she faced a fear every single day. I couldn't even, what a great story. Every single day, she didn't like not being able to talk to a stranger. She wanted to do something different. And again, when you want something different, you have to take action, or you're not going to get anything different. Talking about something different means absolutely nothing unless you're doing something about it. You could talk about it for one time, maybe 2 times, 3 times. After that, you're either going to do something or you're not. But the trick is sometimes people get caught in just talking. And what I'm saying is there are actions to take. You want more happiness in your life? There is an action. There is an action. There is practice. Or not. Well, that's all of today's show. Thank you for listening to Reality Spirituality. The Truth About Happiness is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Visit my website at RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington or LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. My YouTube channel is a work in progress, but trust me, working it all out. I'm making some moves. I'm making some moves. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. And my second book, the one I'm writing now, it is going to get done, everyone. Program for Unhappiness is going to be out in the next month or 2. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving, you're always changing, and you're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. To Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, global happiness specialist and inner peace practitioner, Rebecca Lynn Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. And did I give the definition of happiness? The definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. And regardless of what doesn't happen, just like that. What doesn't happiness? What doesn't happen? Your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good.